very philosophical view about design, and sometimes we need to do this, see the nature of design. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to you. Enjoy.
Alok Nandi, thank you for being here with us. You are very welcome to Rio, and especially in my YouTube channel UXlab. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Andre.
Thank you so much. You see, I just saw your talk. You talk about the design, the space and time. And space and time are very related to storytelling, right?
Yeah.
And you put design in such level. Tell us more about this relationship on design, space and time.
If we look at design at a very high level, and it's not abstract, it's trying to look from far. Design is about thinking and making things which yet don't exist. And storytelling allows to look at things which have existed and project ourselves in things which yet don't exist. So storytelling is the very first prototype of design something. When we think of designing something, we begin by a story.
Exactly.
What if I would do this? What would happen? And then we begin to connect the dots. And that is what I call causality. It yet doesn't exist, but we begin to question ourselves. And by questioning, we are putting assumptions, and then we say, okay, maybe we could do that. And then we are getting into the design process. Implicitly, intuitively, creatively, and we are trying to mix stuff which bring the magic source. And if we look a lot at all the design methods here and methodologies, they are trying to cut in pieces and simplify what we as designers know, that we spend 10 years to accumulate knowledge, and suddenly there is a sparkle and we make the connections. And a design sprint can't do that because we accumulated the knowledge like a sponge, and then if we are experienced designers, we know that we can pick in our dynamic shelf. Yeah,
it's interesting because you and Mark mentioned something very similar. I mean, Mark earlier said about design your method, you see, and you said something very similar to that. I mean,
design the framework.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's the idea, right? We don't have a ready recipe to design something.
We don't know. We know we don't know. So how can we minimize the we don't know space? By maximizing the we know. We tried in some areas, and then we try better and better.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Alok, we know that every product, every interface, everything we interact with can be a story.
Yeah.
Great. So, in your opinion, what's the best way to start to observing such stories that happen everywhere, basically?
Listen, 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 listen. We don't develop enough the skills of listening. I'm not telling observing, because we can observe, but we need to begin to learn to listen things which are not said. Body languages, movements. We think there are only 5 senses. You know, touch, smell, look.
Exactly.
But in fact, there are other senses we underestimate. Movement. We have what we call kinetic capabilities, which were developed for thousands of years. We have the ability to sense things which are happening that we don't see, but because there are sounds which are alluding to movement, these kinetic capabilities are opening our senses. And interaction design is about time and kinetic, and we don't talk a lot about kinetic. And we have this cognitive ability. So when you take your smartphone and you do this, or you do this, it reacts differently because some designers thought that they would put the feedback signal differently. This has been designed. It's not only touch, it's also kinetic and touch. That's why animation and animation movie makers are interesting to have in the design teams, because they know how to deconstruct movements and the perception.
And everything needs to be a rhythm, right?
Yeah,
the proper
tempo.
rhythm,
Absolutely.
the tempo.
The right
exactly.
tempo. Yeah, that's why I called 15 years ago my company Architempo, because the job of designing is architecturing the optimal tempo.
Exactly.
Not too quick, not too slow, the optimal tempo.
In
and
the
it's
right
not easy.
rhythm, basically, right?
Yeah. And that's why I was alluding to Nana Vasconcelos, because this guy was a maestro in finding the right tempo for the audience. And,
Great.
And so we have so much to learn from musicians who do impro and jazz, because they play with tempo. They know some basic rules, they have a grammar, but the output of their jam session is each time different, because they put the ambiance, their mood, their feeling into the music.
Exactly.
And in design we need to do that, or at least that is my belief.
You've said something really, really valuable in your talk earlier, which was, are we designing elements to evoke experiences or to meet expectations?
Yeah.
Tell me more about this concept.
So my working assumption is the following. We use all the word UX and user experience, but we cannot design the experience of someone, because we are not in their shoes. We design conditions for the experience to happen, and that is different. We help people choosing, but we don't choose for them. And user experience is telling that we choose for them, which is monoculture thinking. And that's why I was alluding to navigation. When you design a city, you don't design only one street. If you are an urban designer, you see how people are moving. Some streets can change depending on the way people feel good into. So we need to have this systemic view and create conditions for people to feel good and design and navigate in meaningful ways, in emotional ways, in util ways, because design is also about util, functional aspect. But not only, it's about emotional, it's about the pleasure of doing stuff. So all these layers and dimensions, we need to put that in a kind of synthetic way.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that we have different spaces. I mean, we have the beginning and we have the end. And so we are in the beginning trying to design interfaces, services and products that will meet the expectations, right?
Yeah.
Which is...
And if we take your image beginning and end, often we take one part.
Yeah.
But as interaction designers, we should take 3-4 parts according to the person who will use maybe this,
the context,
maybe that. And if we take a computer today, screen, you can go into the menu through one way, or through the hierarchy, or through a search, or through Windows. So you have 4 ways to get to the someplace.
Yeah.
Because it took some years to figure out and to understand that maybe I don't like to click on that and open that. I prefer to go from the top.
Yeah.
You see? So it's no more designing one action possible. It's giving the possibility to choose amongst 4 entry points. And that is why I call, we don't design the choosing, we design the enabling of the choosing.
And then you present to the user many different options, right, to reach the same final point, which is the expectation, right? Doing something better.
Answering to the expectation. And that becomes the experience.
Yeah.
And we talk about the experience only after we have experienced.
I see, I got it, the meaning.
Yeah. And that is, the industry needs to move into the vocabulary.
You see, this point of view turn our vision to the what matter. I mean, the elements instead of the
output.
The output itself.
And it's a confusion between output and outcome. Our job as designers is to think about the outcome and the output, and not only about the output.
Alok, when we create products and services, we are creating stories, basically. And we need to share those stories, I mean, to someone, right? And that's the goal of the IxDA.
Sharing knowledge.
Sharing
about
knowledge.
our
exactly.
practice.
Tell us more about the IxDA and how people can connect to this global association.
So IxDA is Interaction Design Association, and it was founded in 2003 as a mailing list. Designers wanted to have a place where they could exchange knowledge in an informal way. That is the original story of IxDA. And we have people like Dave Malouf, who is speaker here at ILA 18 also, who was one of the co-founder of IxDA. So it's exchanging knowledge in an informal way, and therefore IxDA became the place for allowing these conversations to take place. So we need to see ILA 18 or Seattle Interaction 19 as conferences which answer to this need, this desire to share knowledge in an informal way and inspire the younger designers, open up the heads of some other designers. We don't invent the hot water. If things have been in the air, maybe some other designers have done some stuff. So it's better we share the knowledge and we expand the space of knowledge. So that is my way of looking at IxDA, and that is the reason why I'm involved there as a kind of volunteer.
Great, and that is exactly what we are doing here, right? People are sharing things, talking to each other.
ILA 18 is the biggest to date. 1,700 people are coming here. Because they want to share the knowledge.
It's amazing number.
And you have some people who are interested by the methods. Some others by the questioning. Some others by meeting people. They don't even go inside. They just connect with some other folks. But it's good.
You are the president of the association, IxDA. So how do you see this such beautiful event here?
I enjoy because there is a density of conversation. More people are sharing, spending good time, experiencing good moments, then it's good.
And creating stories. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Alok, thank you so much for your talk.
Andrei.
Very philosophical view about design, and sometimes we need to do this, see the nature of design. Thank you.
Thank you to you. Enjoy.
Thank you.